Welcome to the Thrift Store Kitchen Review, where I test all the weird junk from the thrift store so you don't have to. Welcome to today's edition of the Thrift Store Kitchen Review. In my opinion, one of the darkest days in the history of small appliances was the day that somebody, likely a product engineer or a marketing executive, decided that there needed to be a waffle iron for everything. Cake pops, miniature brownies, miniature muffins, pancakes shaped like Hello Kitty, and so on and so forth. Single-use items with almost no utility that serve to do nothing more than take up space in your kitchen. The novelty of using them wears off likely before your product is even done cooking. There's a reason the thrift stores are flooded with them, and there's a reason why I've hesitated to waste time covering them. However, I finally found one that may be interesting enough and give me some hope. This right here is the Bella Meatball Maker. And I found this at a Goodwill in Woodstock, Georgia for only $6.99. So let's get to unboxing our meatball iron. Open it up. And this one appears to be brand new in the plastic. So let me pull this out. Take the bag off, and basically it's your standard waffle iron setup. A plug, two lights that indicate when it's heating and when it's ready. These meatball cups are pretty large, but unfortunately there are only 8 of them. Not a lot if you're cooking for more than 1 or 2 people. However, the size of the meatball cups is very large. I'm assuming this is a grease drip tray. Put that back in. Oh, come on. There it goes. Let's see what else is in this box. And then we have our instruction manual. It is in English, French, and Spanish. It has your standard warnings that all came from frivolous lawsuits that companies have had to settle over time. The basic instructions, and a handful of recipes. So what we're going to do is we're going to try both frozen and fresh meatballs and see how they turn out. The first test of the meatball maker is going to be frozen meatballs. Step 1 is I need to get it plugged in. It's hard to see, but the orange light has come on. Once it goes green, we can go ahead and put our meatballs in. The green light just came on. I will say this machine is giving off just an absolutely foul odor. Now, I know most appliances do the first time you use them, but this one is bad. So I'm going to open it up, and on this plate I have 8 meatballs. These are the Italian style meatballs from Lidl's store brand. I chose them because they are somewhat larger than most of your major brands of frozen meatball. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in. Now it says meatballs are meant to cook for about 8 to 15 minutes. I'm going to go and estimate that it's going to be on the lower side of that because these are frozen meatballs instead of fresh ones, and they still are significantly smaller than the cups. Furthermore, it recommends about halfway through the cook time to flip them if they're not large enough to fill the cup. So we'll do that in a few. In the meantime, I'm going to be preparing some marinara sauce. It's been about 5 minutes. Let's open this up and take a look. All right. They are still very frozen on the top side. Let's see how the bottom looks. Yeah, the bottom's cooking. That's for sure. So let me flip these so both sides can get some cook time. Close the lid. We'll be back in a few to see how they're doing. It's been 5 minutes since the initial check. Let's see how they look now. Okay, they still feel slightly hard inside for sure. So maybe we really did need the 15-minute cook time. So I'm gonna kind of just roll these again. And then hopefully in a few more minutes, they'll be ready. Okay, time for the third check. Open it up. Yeah, these definitely feel closer to being done. So let me put this one on the plate and cut it open with a knife. The center probably could get just a little warmer, so I'm gonna cook it for about 2 more minutes, and then I will taste test it and then use them to make a sandwich. Okay, so these should be done now. Let me grab another one of the full meatballs that I haven't cut into yet. Cut it open. Yeah, these are definitely done now. So let me take a little taste. I mean, they aren't bad. For frozen meatballs, though, it shouldn't really take this long to cook. I could honestly have just thrown them in the air fryer and it would have been done probably 5 to 7 minutes ago. Let's see this grease tray. Yeah, not bad. If you notice, all the little cups have these holes in the bottom that the grease runs through. Now for frozen, I wasn't expecting that much grease. However, for when I use fresh, I'm expecting a lot more, and I almost worry if that tray is going to be too shallow. So I'm going to take my meatballs, I'm going to throw them in the marinara that I have on the stove, let them simmer for a bit, and I'm going to have a meatball sub. And then next, we're going to test with fresh meatballs. Before I move on, in case you did want to see it, here is my meatball sub. They always come out so good. I use a good bread, usually baguette. I put the meatballs in with the sauce. They've been simmering for a little while to absorb some of the flavor. I take some sliced provolone cheese and put it on top. I put it in the oven on broil for about 2 minutes so it toasts the bread and melts the cheese. It's going to be quite delicious. Anyway, on to the fresh meatballs. Okay, so now it's time for fresh meatballs. I've got the machine heated back up, so I'm going to go ahead and put these in. These are a little bit bigger than the frozen ones were. Only going to make 5 of these right now. I'm going to close that lid. While they cook, I do have a little bit of a special announcement. Next week, I'm going on vacation, but Thrift Store Kitchen Review is going nowhere. I've already prepared for you a special episode for while I'm gone. It's going to be Thrift Store Kitchen Review's first ever book review. Which book? Well, if you watch my videos, you already know. Yes, it's that one. Time to open it up and do the first check of the meatballs. They're definitely cooking and they do smell really good. They probably will cook faster than those frozen ones. Those frozen meatballs were quite a mistake. They had been in my freezer a while, and I guess maybe they had been in there too long. Ended up with a mild case of food poisoning from that sandwich. Thought it tasted fine, but didn't work out so well. So it can only go up from there. It's been a few more minutes. Time to inspect our balls. Those are looking quite good this time. food safety first. Gonna pull out the meat thermometer and see what we're looking at. $169.5, so these should be about done. Check one more just to be safe. This one is at 182, so it's very clear this thing does not cook evenly. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug it. I'm going to shut this lid for a minute more, keep them warm. I'm going to try one of these. Had to go get a plate and a knife. I didn't expect them to be done that quickly. Let me pull this one out. Cut open. Okay, it says it was at 180, but that center does not say 180 to me. Have no idea. Just to be safe, I'm going to leave it in just a little long. Okay, let's check again. Take a different meatball this time. This one here looks good. I'm going to cut this one open. How's that center look this time? Still slightly undercooked. So let me turn these over one more time. And hopefully it'll be ready in just a couple minutes. Hopefully this is the last check. Let's see this one. Yeah, those look about done, plus they're going to have some time to simmer and marinate again. I'm not doing the meatball sub again, but I am doing some spaghetti. So I'm going to put these in there in a minute and see how it goes. Good Lord, I'm a moron. Look what I did. Look what I did. I forgot to put the grease tray back in. It's sitting in my dishwasher, and now my cutting board is covered in meatball grease. I'm a moron. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm a moron. So here's my completed plate of spaghetti and meatballs. Let me give this a try. I mean, the meatballs came out okay. The problem with this machine is there's just too much about it I don't like. Number one, those meatball cups are way too big. These are decently large meatballs, and they don't even come close to filling the cups. I really don't see a reason that you need the cups to be the size almost of tennis balls, especially if you're not cooking meatballs the size of tennis balls. The machine would be more efficient if they were shrunk down to where it could fit, I don't know, maybe like 12 cups in there, because 8 just isn't very many. It cooks slowly, it cooks unevenly. It sounded like a good idea. Unfortunately, it just wasn't. It's another single-use, limited practicality waffle iron knockoff. But we're gonna test it one more time and see if it does have a decent use. So for the final test of the Bella Meatball Maker, we're about to find out, will it glizz? So I had a great idea. Why not cook a meatball dog? So since the hot dog is going to take longer to cook than meatballs, already got 2 meatballs cooking in here. I think I'm just going to take the hot dog and just lay it right here across the center and close the lid. Let it cook for a little while and we'll see how it turns out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up those 2 meatballs and put them along the sides of the hot dog in the bun. I think that's a kind of a tasty combination. Let's see. It's been a couple minutes. Let's open the machine up and take a look at the hot dog. Okay, it's looking kind of good, starting to cook. Turn it over. See the meatballs. These did kind of flatten out a little bit because when I put them in the freezer after the initial use, I vacuum sealed it and it crushed them down a little bit. I'm going to let them cook some more on that same side. Close the lid, check again in a couple minutes. Time for the next check of our hot dog. How's that looking? Getting some interesting grill marks on there. Let me turn it on its side so it can get fully done. Time for the next check. Oh man, that wiener's all blistered up. That's never good. I'd imagine that's about done, so let me pull this off. Go ahead and put this in the bun. See how these meatballs are looking. Cut that open. The meatballs are not done. At least this one isn't. This one does not feel done either. So I'm going to leave the meatballs on for a few more minutes. And then we're going to make the meatball dog. Okay, let me open this up and examine my balls for hopefully the last time. See this one? How's that feel? Yeah, that's about done. And this one? Okay, good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the hot dog back in, let it reheat for a minute while I cut these up into little pieces that I can put in the hot dog. That one's good. All right, get a little bite of this meatball. Delicious. Okay, so here's the hot dog. Just stack these little meatball pieces along the side in the bun. There we go. Let me just unplug the machine really quick. Then I'm going to take a bite. It's not bad. A little bit of overkill with the multiple meat flavors, but I've had worse. Well, thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Thrift Store Kitchen Review. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and drop us some love in the comment section. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook, which is linked in the description below. Get out there and support your local thrift store, and have a wonderful day.